I moved into the quiet cul-de-sac on a Thursday, the kind of street where sprinklers hiss at sundown and everyone waves from their driveways. By evening, I'd stacked boxes in lopsided towers and ordered pizza. While I waited, I noticed the playground across the street, just a patch of grass, a single oak, and one metal swing set that creaked like an old door. A boy sat there, small and motionless, letting the swing sway a few inches with the breeze. No phone, no parent, just the slow rhythm and the squeal of the rusted chains. I ate my pizza by the window and kept catching myself looking back. The street lights blinked on. Moths fluttered. The boy never left. When the delivery guy asked for a signature, he glanced toward the park and said, "He's been there since lunch." I laughed it off, told myself this neighborhood was safe, that kids had their quirks. Around 9, the boy's swing started moving harder, as if some invisible push had found him. His back arched. The chains rattled. Then he folded inward like a crumpled paper doll and slid off into the grass. My stomach dropped. I was halfway out the door when a woman sprinted from the house next to the park bare feet, robe flapping, carrying a plastic pill organizer. She knelt in the grass, talking fast and low, tipped pills into his mouth, rubbed his throat. The boy's limbs twitched, then loosened. A minute later he stood, brushed dirt off his pajamas, and sat back down. Back to the slow sway. Back to staring at nothing. The woman saw me watching and gave a tight smile. "He gets episodes," she called. "He's fine." Her voice said, "Don't ask more." So I didn't. She went inside. The boy kept swinging. I shut my blinds and told myself to stop being NOSEY too. In the morning, I woke to lights strobing through the slats. Red, blue, red, blue. An ambulance idled by the curb, a police SUV behind it. The same woman sat on her porch steps, one arm cradled against her ribs, hair wet and tangled like she'd run through a storm. An EMT tried to talk to her. She pointed at the dark yard. I didn't see the boy anywhere. A cop came to my door, because that's what they do when there's nothing else to do. "Sir, you hear anything unusual?" I hadn't. He stared over my shoulder at the swing set. "Coyotes," he said finally, like he was practicing a line he didn't like. "Happens out here. Keep your trash lids tight." I looked past him. The empty swing moved on its own, lazy arcs in the night air. The sirens faded. The house across the street went black. My new home settled around me with those unfamiliar pops and sighs that old wood makes. I stood in the kitchen, drinking water I didn't want, trying to decide if I should offer help. A thud answered for me, soft, then closer, the way someone might test each step of a staircase. I put the glass down. Another sound, a wet, burbling inhale, as if something were learning how to breathe. It wasn't outside. It was in my living room. I didn't turn on a light. I can't say why. Maybe the dark felt kinder to whatever I was about to see. My eyes adjusted enough to outline a shape on the floor. Small, low to the ground. It crawled the way kids pretend to be monsters, knees and elbows first, except this wasn't pretending. The thing paused at the edge of the rug and lifted its head. In the street light spill, I recognized the boy, or the version of him that the night had chewed on and spit back. His pajama top hung open, fabric torn at the collar. There was dirt pasted across his cheek, and something darker smeared along his jaw. He blinked once slow, deliberate, and opened his mouth. No words. Just that thick gurgle that had no business coming from a child. He reached a hand toward me and made a pinching motion with his fingers, like he was grabbing at air. It took too long for my brain to make the connection. Pills. He was asking for pills. I don't have, I started, but he made the motion again, more frantic, and that sound in his throat deepened into a bubbling plea. I went to the bathroom and tore open every cabinet like a burglar. Old vitamins from the previous owner. A half-empty bottle of ibuprofen. The boy dragged himself toward the hallway, small palms squeaking on the hardwood. I dumped the pills into my hand and came back. He scooped them up with both hands, stuffed them into his mouth, swallowed dry. He didn't cough. He didn't choke. He just took them. Then he pushed himself upright. The way he stood would never leave me, like bones didn't understand their old job anymore. He turned, and for a second, he was a silhouette in my doorway. A child, cut out of black paper. He moved down the steps one at a time, more sure with each step, out into the cool air, across the quiet street. I followed at a distance, because I didn't know what else to do. He walked to the swing and sat. The chains shivered. He rocked gently, and though he faced the road, I felt his gaze settle on my house, on the window where I had first watched him. The breeze picked up, and the oak leaves whispered to each other. Somewhere far off, a dog barked 3 times and went silent. I didn't sleep. Dawn tinted the roofs pink, and the boy was still there, swaying. Around 8, his front door opened. The woman from the night before stepped out with sunglasses and a fresh bruise peeking over the collar of her sweater. She lifted a hand to me in a wave that tried to be normal. I waved back like we were neighbors who traded sugar. Like none of this had happened. Days fell into a routine I didn't choose. Work, home, curtain, swing. The boy would be there at breakfast, at lunch, at midnight, always angled toward my window, as if we were sharing a private joke I didn't understand. Sometimes the swing went empty for an hour. Then he'd be back, hands clamped so tight to the chains that the metal left crescents in his skin. I thought about calling someone. A social worker. Animal control, embarrassingly. A priest, if I'm honest. But each time the sun went down, and the familiar squeal of the swing drifted in through the glass, something in me kept still. Like making a call would be the wrong kind of attention. And the silhouette on that swing would turn to look at me, and finally show me what it had been hiding. On the 6th night, I woke at 3:03 a.m., no reason. Just upright in bed with my heart pounding. The house was a held breath. I went to the window and lifted the edge of the blind with 2 fingers. The swing set stood under the yoke, empty. No sway, no creak. Just metal, black against black. Across the street, a porch light clicked on. The neighbor's door opened an inch, then closed again like a heartbeat. I stayed there until the horizon blued. I stayed there after, until late morning sun pooled on the asphalt, until my coffee went cold in my hand. The swing never moved. That night, I didn't look. I told myself I wouldn't. I brushed my teeth, turned off lights, lay down. But when the wind shifted and the house made that long, hollow moan it sometimes makes, my feet were already carrying me back to the window, back to the slice of the world I'd learned to measure myself against. The swing was waiting, and this time it wasn't empty.